Welcome to our next episode of OMJJ with Jessica and Josh. What's exciting about what we do is we teach you all how to communicate, because everything is communication and
communication. We're not stopping. This is a no edit podcast. Whatever comes out, comes out. I'm not doing no extra work on this thing.
Look, communication is everything, okay?
Yeah, and everything is communication.
Absolutely. And so with that being said, we are at Ambitious Graphics. Shout out to Wayne and Drew for allowing us to be here today so that we can literally showcase their business, but also have our pop-up. That's the part of the pop-up, allowing us to be at different locations to educate you guys about communication. So with that being said, today's topic, we're going to be discussing appearance, your physical appearance, and what that actually demonstrates to other people when they interact with you. And so since we've been talking about teachers, we're going to keep going with that theme. A couple times I worked in some schools where the teachers literally, when I tell you, I was just like, did they just wake up out of their bed and roll over and come to school? And sometimes just in different environments, when you're walking around all day, by the end of the day, if you hadn't freshened up, you kind of lose your
whoa. I'm
just saying,
when the fog hits the fan.
I mean, the reality is a lot of schools don't have, AC.
That's a good idea.
So
a little fresh up place. So
yes,
I need to think about incorporating that.
I like that. I think it's needed
at work.
Well, let's get into this topic.
Yeah.
And tell us how you feel, what that communicates.
Well,
when you're interacting with somebody
really good.
Who doesn't look their best.
When we say everything is communication and communication is everything, we really do mean it.
Yes.
And the second you wake up in the morning, you're communicating. The second you get out of bed, the second you go to sleep, you're communicating. So when you put certain clothes on and you do certain things to your hair, or you do certain things to your face, you're communicating. Now, if you come in with your hair all frazzled, your beard and stuff all over the place, you got a wrinkled shirt on, wrinkled pants, and all this other stuff, you're communicating to the children or the young people that you're working with subconsciously that you don't care, or that what you're promoting about them is not that important. Now, they're not going to tell you that directly.
Yeah.
They're not going to say that shirt is wrinkled or whatever. They will talk amongst each other though.
Yes.
And they will talk about you. And you will lose credibility just off of your appearance.
That's right.
It is so important that you take the time out to look a certain way when you come to work to deal with young people. Mm-hmm. It's called the KLT Factor, the know, like, trust. Okay. For people to get to know you, for people to get to like you, for people to get to trust you, you have to appear a certain way. 93% of all communication is what? Nonverbal. She just communicated that by her not saying anything.
That's right. That's the purpose.
93% of all communication is nonverbal. So everything except words has more power than what you say. So if you walk into a room and then you look a certain way, people automatically make their judgment about you. How long does it take for somebody to make up opinion about you?
Less than as soon as they see.
As soon as they see.
Immediately.
It only takes 10 seconds for somebody to make up their mind about you. After that, you have to either prove or disprove what they think about you. I've walked into churches here and in all different kind of places, and I walk in and ushers will say, "All right, sir, come with me." I was like, "Come with you for what?"
They think he's important.
They said, "The deacon sit in the front." I said, "I'm not a deacon." "Come on, sir. Come on.
That's because he's always casket sharp. Okay?
the deacon sit in the front." But see, even though I'm wearing a suit, and this is a whole nother conversation, the suit doesn't wear me.
Okay.
I wear the suit.
That's right.
In other words, even if the suit is too big or too whatever, I stand and I hold myself a certain way to where it looks like I'm important.
Confidence.
Fake it till you make it.
That's right.
You have to come and act a certain way. You have to communicate a certain way where you learn for people to respect you.
I agree.
If I came and spoke to these teachers and the administrators and I had on flip-flops and mixed match socks and
that's what he dresses like every day, by the way.
And this t-shirt on and all this other stuff, they wouldn't listen to me as much. And I know people say, well, you need to accept me the way I am.
Yeah.
In reality, that's a beautiful thing. And in reality, they should. But how the human being works, how human behavior operates, is that it's a defense mechanism on how they're going to decide to deal with you.
Yeah.
So if a person comes in and looks a certain way, they're automatically making up their mind how they're going to adjust to the situation. It's just how human behavior works.
Right.
We have to put ourselves in that kind of mind frame if we want to be able to push forward.
I agree.
So what you want to do is you want to come in where they can't pass any judgments about you. You want to come into the position where they're going to be able to look at you and not say negative things about you off of how you look.
Right.
Because I've been in situations and I've spoken to classes, right? Had a suit on, had everything looking, and the girl was like this the whole time. I never forget. After it was over, she was like this. Then she was engaged. And she told me, she said, you know, when I first saw you, I didn't like you. I said, why not? She said, because you acted arrogant. I said, I thought I was confident. You think you know everything. That's what I first thought. Well, I said, did you learn anything? Yeah, I did. I appreciate you.
You do know everything.
No, she didn't say that.
I'm just kidding.
Say that. But if I would have came in with some shorts and flip-flops and a t-shirt on, I couldn't have changed her mindset. She would have just looked at me like, he's dressing less than I am.
Right.
And he doesn't care that much about me because look how he dresses.
Right.
So you want to take that barrier out of the way.
Yes.
Yeah, and for people to get to know you, to like you, and to trust you, which is the KLT factor, they have to have all of these things in place. And this is an important thing. And this is where sometimes dealing with young people, this is the hardest thing for them to understand. But it's okay. When you're dealing in a situation, it's the 3 V's.
Okay.
The 3 V's.
Okay.
The 3 V's. Do you know one of them? I know you know one of them.
We're going to do a nonverbal gesture and let you do it.
One of the 3 V's is verbal.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
What's the other V?
Visual?
Visual. Very good.
Look at that. I learned something.
So there's verbal, there's visual, and then there's the last one.
I don't know.
Vocal.
I thought so. Okay.
Yeah. How she think so?
But what's the difference between verbal and vocal?
You don't know?
I don't. Teach me.
Okay. So I like that dress.
Thank you.
The verbal is I like the dress.
Right.
Okay, I like that dress.
So the tonality.
Tonality.
Okay.
The pacing.
Okay.
You know, the intent. All these things have to line up.
Okay.
So when you have the 3 V's, the verbal, the visual, I was like, if I do V like this, it's backwards, but if I do it like this, it's backwards. That's a backwards V. So the verbal, the visual, and the vocal. But the most important out of all of those is the
Verbal.
no.
Visual.
Visual. Now, why is the visual the most important?
Tell me more.
5, 4, take a guess.
3.
Why is the
2,
visual the most important?
1. Let's go. Oh, I thought that's what you was counting for. I'm sorry. I just thought that's what you was counting
It
for.
looked like you had an
I'm sorry.
arthritic robot.
Live it up.
Your robot is about to get laid out the pasture. That is the worst robot. That's like the no-bot.
He's a hater. It's okay.
The most important V is the visual.
Okay.
Why is that?
Why?
I'm asking.
I don't know.
It's
Tell me
because
more.
it's the first thing that
see.
people see
Okay.
that they make up their mind about you.
Okay, that
It only
makes
takes 10 seconds for somebody to make up their mind about you. That's it. After those 10 seconds, you have to either prove or disprove what they think about you.
Okay.
So your visual is most important. So if you walk in looking a little cray-cray sideways, they already thinking something about you already.
Wow.
So there's nothing there. It's really difficult to overcome that visual challenge. Now that you got the visual down pat, what you say verbally has to line up with how you look. In other words, if I walk into a place and I have a suit on and my suit is well put together and I come in there and I start talking, hey guys, you guys are so awesome. I mean, this is going to be the best class ever. That does not line up with what I'm got on.
Why?
Okay, so if you have to look a certain way, you want to sound the way you look.
Okay.
So if I come in there, today we're going to, I'll use the exact same words. Today, we're going to talk about how important communication is and how if you use it correctly, it will benefit you for the rest of your life.
Sounds complicated.
Okay, say it again. Today, we're going to talk about communication and how if you use it correctly, it's going to benefit you the rest of your life. Now, imagine me with a suit on.
I would laugh.
I'm telling you, because you're not expecting. But if I was dressed like a clown,
then that would work.
and I made those kind of noises, it would line up because the visual lines up with the vocal.
Well, how do you control that if your voice just sounds like that?
Okay, if your voice can sound that, there's a bunch of things you can do.
Tell us more.
I have a friend. I don't want to say his name. I got a friend. He's taller than me, but he has the girliest voice. And he answers the phone. They be like, "Yes, ma'am," and he doesn't get mad at nothing. But he has a very high pitched voice. I won't say his name, but I'm not. So he has to take the time out and mentally change how his voice sounds. Hello. He'll do that.
Okay.
On the phone.
Okay.
So what do you want to do? If you have a high pitched voice, talk slower.
You're right.
Talk slower. And you have to be very cognizant of that. Now, you can change and do whatever you want after you've established who you are.
Right.
But when you first meet somebody, the visual and the vocal have to line up.
Okay.
Now you have to have the verbal. And the verbal deals directly on the specific words that are coming out your mouth.
Okay.
So you can't come in that room with bad speech,
Okay.
with incorrect grammar.
Right.
All right. You know, I say, let's go out here and let's get it done, because that's what we does.
Get her done.
That's what we does. I say it all the time when I'm just joking. But I don't go in this classroom talking about that's what we does. I don't say that.
I hope not.
Yeah, and if I said that, I automatically lose credibility because it doesn't line up.
Right.
I look like I know what I'm talking about. I sound like I know what I'm talking about. And now the words have to line up with exactly what I'm talking about.
Right. So your voice and the vocal part of it would change depending on the environment.
Yes.
So of course you're in a social environment, you can do that, that's what we does type thing, but when you're in a professional environment as a teacher or administrator, you have to be mindful of that. You know, you got to think of things like using too much slang and,
yes, very good.
You know, of course, profanity and everything in between. That stuff really makes a difference because children, again, are looking at everything that you do. So if you are acting like what they see on TV or on the radio and all of that, they're thinking you're more of a peer versus more of someone who is of a professional stature or should be respected because of their position.
And when I do my after school programs, I wear this shirt because these kids, they're done with school. Some of them are super tired. Some of them have lackluster energy because we're going to do a lot of movement around to change that. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to wear a suit to deal with them because that's going to be clashing with what's going to go on with the class.
Right.
Because my after school pro, we loud as all get out. The teachers get so mad at me because I be having these students loud. I get them to get all this energy out when we communicate and doing all that stuff because we got to have a lot of fun because that's how they remember it.
Right.
And one day, as a matter of fact, I had to speak at another school, and I left that school and I went to my after school program, and the kids were like, "Why are you dressed like that?" I had a suit and tie on.
Are you about to do something serious?
Yeah, they was like, "Why are you dressed like that?" Like it was weird to them because that's something that they were not used to.
Right.
So you have to be very cognizant when you wake up in the morning. I know people. I got a friend. She will iron everything a week, like on Sunday night. She'll get everything together for the whole week. She's not a teacher, but she'll get everything prepared for the whole week to make sure her stuff looks right.
Yeah.
So she ain't got to worry about it.
One less thing.
Yeah, and I know other people that just pick up stuff off of the floor and just roll out.
Sound like me. No iron zone. If I can get out the house without having an iron, I'm winning for the day.
But you don't work around certain people.
I don't.
You make your own money.
I'm in construction and everything else, so
you make your own money. You can do that. Okay, you want to do it.
That's right.
Excuse my French.
That's right. Well, I mean, what you said was very important, and I want to go back to the know, like, trust for a little bit, only because I think you may want to stay on that for a little bit to help people understand it a little bit more. So what I got out of it, you're saying that the way that people view you determines whether or not they can get to know you, right? Rather not they'll like you and rather not they'll trust you. And by doing that, that also will allow for the interaction to run a little smoother, or honestly, if your appearance is a certain way, it will put a hindrance on your interaction. So that 10 seconds, let's say 10 seconds is a lifetime, you may not get past that point because of how you look. You know, especially if you give the example of the child who looked at the teacher and was like, you don't even iron your shirt. How can you tell me to be disciplined and behave correctly when you as an adult didn't think to, you know, clean the stain off your shirt or, you know, tie your shoes or anything in between. I don't know what that person may look like, but I have seen it tremendously in classrooms where, you know, children, and then let me say this, if you're an adult, even in an adult classroom setting, it goes the same way, because at some point in time, even as adults, if they're taking GED classes or, you know, continuing education, whatever, it's no different than if it was a child. They're still looking at you a certain way. They're looking at whether or not they can get to understand or know what you're talking about and what's coming out your mouth with the verbal and the visual, and they also want to like you. And so I mean, we talk about people when you were kids. What we talk about, the kids that were not so clean,
that's right,
and did not smell good or
that's
did
right.
not look good. Even adults still do that. And so again, those connotations, those perceptions, they still carry forth even into adulthood and adult education. So I just want to have you just kind of re-illustrate some of those principles, because I think in order for, you know, even the littlest things, for instance, another example, instead of it being a person that doesn't smell good or doesn't look good, what about the person that looks good but has tight clothes on?
Yeah.
You know,
once again, the verbal, the visual, the vocal,
all of that.
If the V's don't line up, there's going to be a switch in the person that's reading the situation.
Right.
It's funny, but it's not funny. How the human brain works, everything has to go in one order for everything to make sense to the person that's trying to receive the information. And it's wrong, right, however you want to add it up, but that's just how the brain works.
Right.
It's like, if I always do this test, I ask the people in the class, ask me if I have any money. And then I put my hand in my pocket. And I say, yeah, I got some money. No, I ain't got no money. I look around. They're like, you lying. I was like, why do you think I'm lying? They're like, because you put your hand in your pocket and you automatically looked away. The visual did not line up with the verbal.
That's right.
It automatically, your subconscious, usually most of the time, will not lie on you. But if you're a psychopath, it's a whole different conversation. But going back to the KLT factor, when people see you, they automatically determine if they want to know you or not. Okay. So you want to create all the barriers that you push them away so they don't have a reason not to want to know you. So after they get to know you, the common thing after that is they want a reason to like you.
Okay.
So once somebody gets to know you, that's interesting. And then they say to themselves, you know what? I want to like you.
Yeah.
So now you have to give them a reason to like you.
That's right.
And give them a reason to like you is something that's going to benefit, something that's going to come out of your mouth, is something that you do that's going to benefit them. If you can benefit an individual, automatically they'll find a reason to like you.
That's right.
If it's money-wise, if it's making them better. Those are two main things. If you can do that, then they, I think I like this person.
And I would say under the making them better part, making them feel good.
Very good. And that makes them better.
Yeah.
Because that is an emotion and that is the energy that you gave them, right. Basically, because before, maybe they didn't have that.
That's right.
Now, so after they get to know you, now that they like you, you have to give them a reason to trust you. And believe it or not, they want to trust you.
Most people are genuinely, from the very beginning, very trusting, and typically you give them reasons not to, and so that's where all that comes into play.
Yeah, so, but if you give them the no, if you give them the like, automatically, more than 8 times out of 10, the trust will fall into place.
Automatically, yeah.
Automatic, but you have to build those up first. Now, I have seen people be able to build the no, like, trust in a different order, like over the phone.
Okay.
Without them having to see you. But you communicated that you like them over the phone. They're getting to know you from what you're saying, and then they'll trust you.
Well, let's talk about that for a second then. So think about teachers who are online teachers. That's a perfect example.
Online teachers do exactly like you're going into the classroom. Don't brush your hair, comb your hair, brush your teeth, you know what I'm saying? Get the sleep out your eyes. Put on something that looks professional. Not necessarily a
suit and tie.
A suit and tie, but have like a blouse or a button-down shirt. You can wear whatever you want. You can sit on some leggings.
That's right.
And some tights or whatever.
Right.
If you don't plan on standing up, that's fine. But you have to have the appearance that when they see you, you look like you about some business.
Right.
Now I do know people that actually do put on a suit and tie.
Right.
They put on a tie and a suit coat.
Right.
They may be sitting on some boxes or whatever.
Right.
But up top, they look professional.
Right.
Because it looks to the person that you're talking to that, dang, this person really does care about me because he took the time enough to dress up.
Yeah.
So you can't have a bad opinion about him just by how he look.
Right.
You can make up your mind and say, I don't like you arrogant or whatever, but you ain't gonna say, I don't like you what your outfit is.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
I like that.
So that's when you get that out the way, it's easier to function. And it goes back to what we talked about in the last podcast, the inner and the outer. Mm-hmm. So if your outer appearance is one way, the inner that the person is receiving is like, I don't like what they got on. They're making a bad judgment about you just by what they see.
And never even talk to you.
And now they're like, I don't care what are you talking about.
Right.
Because I've been in situations, I think I said this earlier, or a different podcast, where a young lady's like, Mr. Peltier,
did you eat onions?
You had some onions today. I said, yeah. She's like, your breath stank. It was difficult for her to listen to me because she kept on thinking about how bad my breath was.
The smell is real. He loves those onions.
Yeah, not anymore. I stopped eating onions.
Amen.
Yeah, I stopped eating onions. But see, I wasn't offended by it either. That's a whole other conversation. Yeah. But she felt, and this is the fact, she felt that we had a connection, that we had a friendship. Because she felt comfortable enough because she trusted me to tell me that.
Right.
Now, she must have had liked me in the first place, and she already got to know me. It was like the fifth class we've had together.
I like what you said there. So let's talk about how you react to, like you said, people getting to know you, trust you, and like you, the verbal, the visual, how people respond to you. So you could have gotten offended.
Yes.
With what that young person said, but you didn't get offended. You literally kind of brushed it off. You probably laughed or whatever.
I laughed.
And so literally, I like that you recognize that. And so those are some of the things you got to kind of be concerned about. Like if that occurs, how are you going to react? So let's go back a couple steps.
How much time do we have?
Let's go back a couple steps. So the main thing is that we have to 2 minutes. We have to realize that the bigger part is, do you make the conscious effort before you leave the house to not allow these kind of things to occur where people have to react or respond to your visual appearance? Again, if you never get a chance to talk, they're going to always see you. So let's talk about some prevention measures.
Okay.
And how to react.
Yeah, I'm not sure we have enough time.
But go for it.
But it's a theory, and this is not anything I came up with. It's called respond versus react. And in that process, you have to make up your mind on how you're going to deal with the situation. Now, communication, as we all know, is the transmitter sending the...
Responder.
No, sending the...
Initiator.
The transmitter sends the...
Let me tell you something. I'm not a good test taker. My SAT score is real low. It caused me to have low self-esteem. So please don't ask me.
How you working about 50 million different jobs?
Listen, I can't. How about you teach us?
The transmitter sends the message.
Oh, I thought you was asking me who started the conversation.
The transmitter starts the conversation.
Oh, that's true.
The transmitter sends the message to the
responder.
No, the person who catches the football is a wide receiver.
Boom.
And then
help me out with some.
And then the receiver.
Mnemonics. Come on now.
Yeah, that's what it is. The receiver then sends back
a response.
Feedback. It is a response.
It's the same thing. Why can't I use synonyms? Help me out here.
Because I got to use the word respond to something else.
I'm sorry.
I can't mix words. It's very important.
Let him do his
Whenever
thing.
you're doing communication,
It's that
you
thing.
cannot entangle words. So listen, we run out of time.
Yes.
But next time, I'll break down respond versus react.
Well, no, let's go back to give them 2 ways to prevent people having to respond or react to them in a not so receiving, loving.
Pay close
Trustful
attention to how you're presenting yourself.
How do you do that?
Look in the mirror.
Boom.
But you have to do a hard study. And I know people, and this is a whole nother conversation, who do not like looking in the mirror before they leave the house. Because they do not like looking at themselves.
Well, there we go.
Yeah, and it's tough. And I know people like that. It's really tough for them. But sometimes you may miss stuff if you don't look at yourself.
Agreed.
Because I've rushed out the house before. And I'm getting out.
Yesterday, his feet were so ashy. And he walked out the house like that. And I don't know how he managed to get through the day without nobody looking like he walked in chalk and flour and powder all at the same time. So today, guess what he did? Because I talked about it so bad. He put coconut oil on his feet. Praise God. Won't he do it?
It's not like I'm sitting right here. It's not like I'm sitting right
No
here.
like trust.
No like trust, numero 1. But
Put coconut
this is a
oil.
no edit podcast. Good Jeez Louise, and 2 buckets of cheese. But what was I talking about?
I don't remember.
You have to. One day I was running out the house. This happened to me on a few occasions, and I was going into the school. I was getting my camera, and I realized I didn't have my tie on. I was like, "What the funnel cake is going on?" But I always keep a tie in the car.
He lives in his car.
I always keep a tie in the car. I always keep a tie in the car. So I knew I had one as a backup. I don't know if it matched or not, but I had to come in there with a time. But I didn't look in the mirror. I was rushing. So make sure you take the time out to look at yourself.
Yes.
Before you leave, because you are presenting yourself. You are a business, believe it or not, and you're your own personal business. And you don't want people to judge your business off of what they see and don't like it. And you may have the greatest knowledge since sliced bread.
That's right.
And number 2, KLT, the know, like, trust factor.
Okay.
Once somebody gets to know you, they'll learn to like you, and then they want to trust you. So you always have to have that information ready. And there's the 3 V's.
Okay.
The verbal, the visual, and the vocal. The visual is the most important. The vocal is secondary, is third, and the verbal. What comes up? What are you saying? Not and how are you saying? Vocal is how are you saying? The verbal deals with the words that you're using. You gotta sound like you know what you're talking about.
Amen to that. Well, that's the end of OMJJ. And remember, OMJJ stands for Oh My, Josh and Jessica. If you have any topics that you all want us to kind of incorporate in this pop-up podcast, definitely send us an email at omjjpodcast@gmail.com. And guess what? If you have a location locally,
Anywhere in the state of Georgia.
and we're willing to travel.
And 2
worldwide,
places in Alabama.
and even across seas. If you have a place and y'all want us to
We
come, we
would
will
definitely
come.
go to Ghana.
We'll come anywhere in Africa.
going to Ghana anyway.
Anywhere in
We
Central
doing
and South
OMJJ in
America.
Ghana.
We will go. Okay.
Get ready.
Send us a message. Let us come out to your location. More than anything, it gives you exposure for your business.
Yeah,
So,
any kind of business you got.
that's right.
Yeah, well, not any kind of business.
Not any kind. We have restrictions.
We have the right to refuse you.
We have restrictions. So here's what we're gonna do. You tell us what kind of business you have, and we'll let you know if that's gonna go. Okay?
Yeah, josheffect.com coming soon. Josh Effect app coming soon. And email us at omjjpodcast@gmail.com.
And thanks again for Ambitious Graphics for letting us.
Appreciate you.
We're gonna move on. Thank you guys. Take care. We enjoyed y'all. Make sure you subscribe. Take care.
Yeah.